is a divine plan designed to initiate restoration in all areas of your life. In order to access this restoration, you have to activate it by taking the necessary actions. This is Infinite Restorer, a ray of hope to the world. My mission is to point you to the restoration switch so that you can start your restoration process. Restoration is a promise given to all. So let there be light. Greetings, greetings, greetings to you all. Again, it is my pleasure to bring this video to you, and my video is captioned, Be Prepared. My friends, God's restoration is very, very unique. Most often when something is restored, it is returned to its original condition. However, when God restores us, He not only brings us back to our original state or condition of righteousness, but He carries us even more forward, meaning that He equips us with the wisdom, with the knowledge, and the understanding that we need on how to live a victorious life. So we are always thinking forward. We are always ahead. We are always able to plan or prepare ourselves for the future. Here are two stories in the Bible which tells us the importance of being prepared. We have the Noah's story. In Genesis chapter 6:14, God tells Noah to build an ark, and he was given specific instructions on how to build it. This ark was built in preparation for the flood that was to come on the earth. In verse 21 of Genesis 6, God says to Noah, "As for you, take for yourself some of all the food which is edible, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them." So Noah was not only told to make an ark so that himself and the people and his family and the animals, and so that he was instructed to take in this ark, would be able to survive the disaster from the flood. He was also told to make sure that he had adequate amount of food in the ark so that they could eat the food when they are in the duration of the flood, when nothing would be on the earth growing, because the earth would be completely covered with water. They would not starve to death in the ark, but they will have the adequate amount of food that is necessary for their survival through the period of the flood. The next story is the Joseph story. And we know the story about Joseph, who was sold by his brothers, and he went into Egypt. And while he was there, when he was in the prison cells in Egypt, he was able to interpret the dream of one of the king's members of his court, servants, that was also in prison. So God, in his wisdom, had equipped or prepared or given Joseph the gift of interpreting dreams, because further down there was a need for this gift to be exercised, so that Egypt will be in preparation for the famine that was to come. And as the story went further down, we know that Pharaoh of Egypt, he had a dream wherein 7 fat cows came up out of the water, and after that 7 lean cows came up, and the lean cows devoured the 7 fat cows. And Pharaoh was looking within his court. He looked at all the soothsayers that he had, all the magicians, and all the supposedly wise men that he had in his court. He was looking to them for an interpretation of the dream, and none of them could have interpreted the dream. But because God prepared Joseph with the gift of interpretation, when Pharaoh heard that there was a young guy in the prison who had the gift of interpreting dreams, he right away called Joseph to come to him, and he told Joseph the dream and asked for an interpretation. And after Joseph made his inquiries from God, he was given the direct interpretation of the dream. And this the interpretation meant that Egypt was about to go through a transitional period. There was supposed to be 7 years of abundance, immediately followed by 7 years of famine. And the interpretation that Joseph gave to Pharaoh was to tell him clearly that he needed to prepare for the 7 years of famine. So, in the 7 years of abundance, Pharaoh should store up all the grain and food into barns, so that when the 7 years of famine came, Egypt will not suffer hunger as a result of the famine, but they will have adequate amounts of food for them to eat. So you see the value of preparation, because not only did Egypt benefit from this preparation, but neighboring countries that were surrounding Egypt benefited also, because when the famine struck, they were able to come into Egypt and purchase food. It even benefited Joseph's family, his brothers that was in the other part of the country, that they could have come to Egypt, that it was in another territory, that when the famine struck that territory also, they was able to come into Egypt and purchase food. So we see that God is a God of preparation. And likewise, he wants us to be prepared at all times. I can remember when I was a girl guide in high school, our motto was be prepared. And there is a saying, if you fail to prepare, you will prepare to fail. Many people think that is a light thing to prepare. They don't see the importance of being in preparation. They just trust to luck. It's like whenever something happens, I will just jump in and do whatever at the time. They do not take preparation serious. And we could testify to this in the recent COVID-19 pandemic that we had in the world, where the world was not prepared for it. They did not see it coming. So that is why so many persons died and so many things happened, because we wasn't prepared. And there are some people that think it is scary to even think about preparing for a disaster. And many people say, man, they don't even want to know if a disaster will come because they're so scared and afraid. And so they don't prepare. They just leave everything to chance. As we look further into the scriptures in Proverbs chapter 6, from verse 6 to 8, it tells us how the ants prepare for leaner years. And it reads, "Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, nor overseer, or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest." Proverbs 22:3 also say that a person can be prepared by watching for the trouble so that they will be able to avoid it and stop being in la la land thinking that it can never happen to them. It says, "The prudent man see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." So, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to be prepared physically, prepared mentally, and prepared spiritually for life. Today, my video will speak about preparing for possible disasters and other emergencies that can happen. Natural and human disasters, they can strike suddenly and at any time and anywhere. So there are actions that everyone should take that can make a difference if a disaster should suddenly happen. And when we look in the world today and we see all that is happening with wars in different places, sudden disasters in different countries and in different times and in different seasons, where there is a lot of loss of life, and some unnecessary losses happen, even in simple fires that may happen, in communities when people are not prepared for it. We find that there is unnecessary losses that can happen. So we, as wise children, as children of the Most High God, we should always be in the mode of preparation in our lives. So my video will speak today about preparing for disasters and emergencies, and the 3 actions that everyone should take to help make a difference should disasters or emergencies happen. One of the actions that you should take is ensure that you have an easy to carry emergency preparedness kit. Keep supplies in this kit so that you can use it at home or take with you in the case you have an emergency. So in this kit, or in this emergency preparedness bag, you will have water, like 1 gallon per person per day, a 3-day supply for evacuation, and a 2 weeks supply of water should always be in your home. Food, non-perishable, that are easy to prepare, a 3-day supply for evacuation, and a 2-week supply for home. Ensure you have a flashlight, battery-powered flashlight. You have extra batteries in this bag. You have a first aid kit, medications, a 7-day supply and medical items, multi-purpose tools like scissors and pliers, etc., sanitation and personal hygiene items, have copies of personal documents like medication lists and pertinent medical information, proof of address, the deed, lease to the house, passports, birth certificate, insurance policies. Ensure you have a cell phone with chargers in the bag, family and emergency contact information, and you have a wallet with some extra cash, emergency blanket, and map of the area. You need to consider the needs of all the family members and add supplies to the kit. Suggested items to meet additional needs are medical supplies, as we talk about. If you have persons that need to use hearing aids, you need to have it. Glasses like contact lens, syringe, canes in the bag. The persons who need to walk with a cane, you have a cane, extra cane in the back, so in case you have to evacuate urgently, you will have everything. So if you have a baby, you need to have baby supplies in your bag like bottles, formula, baby food, diapers. Also put in some games and activities for children. If you have pets, you need to have like a collar, a leash, food for the pet, bowl. Also, if you could afford to have a two-way radio, an extra set of car keys and house keys. You need to have these in your bag, in the emergency bag. So when disaster strikes and you can't move around the house to pick up this and pick up that, you have your bag prepared, and it is in a very lucrative position in your home, like close to the entrance of the house. So when you're running, when you're getting out, you just pick the bag up and get up out of the house. So it's very important that we have this preparation kit or this preparedness kit. And also, according to the type of disaster, if you want to know which type of disaster may strike, you could throw into your bag like whistles. You could put in N95 masks now, because we're in the COVID-19 period, and you need to have extra masks in your bag. You should have whistles. You should have matches like rain gears, towel, work gloves, extra clothing, sturdy shoes, plastic sheeted, duct tape, and these kind of stuff, and blankets and sleeping bags. It's very beneficial for you if you have these items in your preparedness bag. The second action is make a plan. A plan how you're going to connect, how you're going to evacuate, and what to do and where to go in the event that there is a disaster. So you need to sit with your family or household members and discuss how to prepare and respond to an emergency that are most likely to happen where you live, learn, work, or play. Identify responsibilities for each member of your household and plan to work together as a team. If a family member is in the military, plan how you would respond if they were deployed, So there's some things that you need to know. I normally have a plan, or I normally brief my daughter, because I might be at work or somewhere and she may be at school or have to travel from school. So I actually tell her what to do in the event that some emergency should happen on the road, or something should, you never could tell what could happen, how she must respond, who she must call first. She must get to one certain situation. She got to call 911 first instead of before she call me, because it might be something real serious that she needs quick help. So she got to know which family member to call after, and And also she have to be wise about certain information, how to respond, not to panic in an emergency. So all of these things is necessary. You have to plan what to do in case you are separated during an emergency. Choose two places that you can meet up. One right outside your house in case of a sudden emergency such as a fire, and outside your neighborhood in case you cannot return home or are asked to evacuate. So you must choose an out-of-area emergency contact person. It may be easier to text or call long distance if local phone lines are overloaded or out of service. Everyone should have emergency contact information in writing or programmed into their cell phones. Plan what to do if you have to evacuate. Decide where you would go and what route you would take to get there. You may choose to go to a hotel, a motel, stay with friends or relatives in a safe location, or go to an evacuation shelter if necessary. Practice evacuating your house twice a year. That's like how we in workplaces and we have fire drills or emergency preparedness drills. And at school, the children may have fire drills. We should make this a practice even in our own home, that we should have these drills like twice a year so that we will be conscious when something happens, we have to evacuate. We will have a set plan and know directly what to do. Plan ahead for your pets if you have pets. You need to also plan for them, and so when there is evacuation, you won't leave your pet behind to perish, but you will be able to pick up that pet and keep going. The next action is be informed. You need to learn what disasters or emergencies may occur in your area. But we know in certain areas they're more prone to certain disasters like hurricanes and tornadoes and these kind of stuff. So we need to know what disasters and emergencies may occur in our area. These events can range from those affecting not only you but your entire family, like a house fire, a medical emergency, and those affecting your entire community, like an earthquake, a flood, as I said before, a tornado, or some other kind of disaster. So identify local authorities which notify you about disasters. Because I have on my cell phone the News 12 app, and that always gives me information like weather alerts about the weather or any kind of disaster that may be happening or may be about to happen in my area that I'm living. Also, I have an Alexa and the Alexa app on my phone. So when there is any disaster or change in the weather condition, etc., I will get an alert from the U.S. National Weather Service. So because I have the app also on my phone, even if I'm out of the house, I will still get that alert that will inform me that to be prepared, that we're going to get a thunderstorm, we're going to get rain, serious rain, or whatever may be the situation. And on that note, I would like to talk a little about why you have a smartphone, why it is called a smartphone, because it is smart. Your smartphone is not just to go on YouTube or go on Facebook, but there are certain apps that you can put on your smartphone that can inform you. Like I said before, the News 12 app, the Alexa app, the other apps, they have tornadoes app, flood app, first aid apps. All these are apps that you could download on your phone and keep them. So your cell phone is very important, and you must always ensure that you have important phone numbers, like numbers in case of emergency. Then you have contact numbers there, poison control numbers, the fire police number, the 311, the human and social services referrals number. You should have numbers for your neighbors, work check-in numbers, numbers for the school that your child is going to or your children are attending. You need to have contact numbers for some of their friends. Sometimes you need to have numbers also for the teachers in the school, so that you will be able to follow up in the event something should happen and you're not here from your child. You would call someone, a friend, a teacher, the school, somebody who will be able to give you some information. So it is very, very, very imperative that you don't only use your cell phone for stuff like going on YouTube or going on social media, but also use it to have certain apps there and certain information that will be very essential and important for you to use in the event that you have an emergency. Also on your phone there is an ICE app, meaning in case of emergency app, where you could put your name, the allergies that you're having, your medications if you're taking any medication, in case of an emergency, who to contact, your doctor's information. All of these supposed to be recorded in your ICE app. And the beauty about this whole thing is that even if you have a password on your phone and your phone is locked, and in the event of emergency and you're unconscious or something may happen to you that you cannot access your phone, anyone taking up your phone, they can access this information from the emergency screen. They can tap on there on the emergency and it will pop up. It will pop up your emergency information, your ICE information. So it's very important that you use this smartphone wisely, as the name said, was intended to be smart, to help you to be smart in when situations or emergencies happen in your life. Also, you need to know what actions to take to protect yourself during disasters that may occur in areas when you travel or have moved recently to. For example, if you travel to a place where where earthquakes are common or hurricanes are common, you need to be familiar on what to do and how to protect yourself should one occur. And when a major disaster occurs, your community can change in an instant. Loved ones may be hurt and emergency response is likely to be delayed. So make sure that at least one member of your household is trained in first aid and CPR and know how to use automatic external defibrillator or an AED equipment. And this training is very, very useful in many emergency situations. So it is good that one family member, somebody needs to know to be trained in first aid and in CPR. Also, it is important that you share information that you learn on how to prepare for emergencies with families, with household and neighbors, and encourage them to be informed also. I could remember that I was living in this apartment building, and we had the alarm went on. The carbon monoxide alarm went off in the building, and many of my neighbors didn't know what it was about. They did not know what to do when that happened. So many of them was trying to turn off the alarm system, from and the device was trying to turn the device off. They wasn't even trying to open up windows, and that they could have died. They wasn't even trying to open up the doors or get out of the apartment. I had to run from door to door in my apartment building, hitting the doors and encouraging people to get out and come outside from the door, because it was a carbon monoxide alarm that went on. And I took it upon myself to inform the tenants in my building about how serious carbon monoxide is a gas that we cannot smell it. So, but because we have these alarms, it will be able to give us a notation that it is in the air so that we can evacuate very quickly. The last action I would like to talk about is having an emergency contact card for all household members. You could make a card, something like the one that I have here, in this demonstration, or you could add other information if you think it is important to add, and print one card to each family member. So you write the contact information, fill in the spots, fill in the work, the school, and the cell phone numbers, and the guardian name and telephone number contact, the emergency, and so give them the emergency number, the local police number in the area, the local fire department number, the poison control number is important. And you could fold this card in half and so that it fits into your pocket, your wallet, or your purse, and carry this card with you so it is available in the event of a disaster or any other emergency. And here ends my video, and I thank you very much for listening, and please remember to like and subscribe to my video so that I can keep them coming. Thank you, and have a blessed day, one and all. Peace, love. More light, more love. Thank you.